in the offense.
Light show season.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only reason the Chiefs offense isn't explosive is if you have a position group or two in open revolt. 2 years ago, it was the receivers and the drops that brewed to his
or just not that good.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I wasn't being literal, but I mean, the 2 years ago, and you called it that it was going to be a problem after week 1 when Kadarius Toney popped the ball up at pick 6. It was record-setting drops, and they were the worst types of drops because they weren't dropping them down. They were dropping them up. They were knocking them up in the air, turning them into interceptions. And then last year, it was a combination of cluster injuries at wide receiver and a revolving door at the tackle position. There were, we can show them to you, just a handful of teams that started 4 different left tackles last year. It was the Chiefs who managed to go 17-3 and make the Super Bowl, and 4 teams that combined to go 17-51, which is kind of a remarkable image when you look at it, that they were able to overcome that and the injuries at wide receiver. They now, at the moment, have healthy wide receivers. I know today a couple guys got banged up and left practice, but all of them were fine except for Sky Moore, who might not make the team anyway. And even with Rashee Rice pending a suspension, should be better there. And now they have a guy who, if the whole league felt as confident about his medicals as the Chiefs, I think the Patriots might have drafted him rather than their T-Rex at 4.
He wasn't ahead of him, was he?
Going into last year, for a lot of the draft folks, he was offensive tackle 1.
Oh, I didn't.
And so, but then he fell massively because he suffers the patella injury, and there was real concern, would he even be healthy by Halloween his rookie year? Instead, he's playing all of training camp at left tackle. And then the guy they signed to play left tackle now is insurance for right tackle, maybe the starting right tackle, maybe the left guard. So I think that if they actually got this solved, Brew, plus the wide receiver room not being devastated by injury, there is no reason the offense shouldn't be explosive again.
Yeah, I mean, look, the tackle position has been a problem the last 2 years, really.
Yes.
And not incoincidentally, the worst 2 individual seasons of Patrick Mahomes' career, even though they still won a Super Bowl. So, you move Moore or Jalen Moore or Jawan Taylor, whichever one of them. And we'll see. I mean, is Moore a full-time starter? He was a backup in San Francisco. And Taylor, just his love of penalties could be a problem.
He's been a problem.
The other side, still a little bit of a question mark. And they lost Tooney, so like he was a great, obviously, lineman for him. But this is huge. And, I mean, last year, Mahomes had the most sacks of his career, the most hits of his career, QB hits while he's throwing the ball, which he led the league. Think about that. He led the league in QB hits, getting hit while he threw the ball. And then he had the least amount of pocket time in his career. He was 25th in the league in that. So those are some of the reasons we presume that Mahomes didn't look Mahomesian over the last year or 2. And so what I say, Nick, is if he doesn't, especially if the receivers are healthy, because that's a component too. Like with Rice and Worthy making the jump we expect him to make, like that's a really good duo. And that's not even to mention Kelsey,
Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood. Like if they're healthy, they have a really nice receiving core. Now you might have, at least looks like left tackle should be solved, if not the entire offensive line. If we don't see the light show, I'll throw this in there too. All the motivation that Mahomes has from Madden not making him the 3rd best quarterback.
Wherever he falls in this top 100.
Right.
I mean, he
probably won't be number 1. He's got a lot of motivation. He's got better receivers if they're healthy, a better offensive line. If there is no light show, I'm going to be seriously concerned.
Okay. Listen, Patrick Mahomes Madden rating. I'm really confident about that. Listen, as athletes, you always try to find inspiration and motivation from all the different places. But it's different because Patrick Mahomes is in a different class where it really is just about winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl. And Tom Brady said it himself when he was calling the 49ers versus Chiefs game, where he was just like, at this point for Patrick, like it's just about winning. It really does not matter about any of the stats. Now, to be fair, I'm sure Patrick Mahomes still does care about stats to a degree, because again, everybody does. Every athlete does. They want to put up great numbers. If you could ask Patrick Mahomes, do you want to put up 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, and win a Super Bowl? He's gonna be like, yeah, I want that. Like, give me that. So, there is going to be a degree of that, but he doesn't have the motivation. He has the motivation. My read on this would be like, his motivation this year after losing the Super Bowl is to be great and win a Super Bowl. And it's really the Super Bowl first, more so than just, I just want to show everyone that I can put up amazing numbers and remind everyone who I am. Like, no, it's again, at the end of the day, it's like winning that Super Bowl. Josh Simmons was always going to be either the absolute gigantic steal of the draft, or just like, yeah, a swing and a miss, because of his, his injury and whatnot. And so that was always on the table. If he was fully healthy, you could make the argument that he would have easily been a top pick in the draft, like a true top pick, not like, oh, top 10. Like, I mean, like, you'd have to go back and really see the order, but it's just it landed in their lap, and obviously it's worth it for the Chiefs to take that swing. And if it hits, then it's just, you're talking about potentially a player who, 8-time Pro Bowler or something, like a true home run hit here. The other thing is, though, is this is why it's like I roll my eyes, like, and this is why it's just like, we can't ever just like have a normal conversation about the Chiefs. Like, everything always has to be so grandiose. Like, really, we're gonna compare the Browns, whoever the heck their quarterback was for the day, and the Patriots with the rookie quarterback, and they didn't even start Drake May, and the New York Giants. Like, really, like, I don't even remember the collection of quarterbacks that the Giants had, and then the Dallas Cowboys, like, right, like Dak Prescott going down, Cooper Rush. Like, it's just it's absurd to try to act like this is a reference to how great the Chiefs are and these other teams. Like, you're using literally like 4 poverty franchises right now, man. Like, it's just kind of absurd. It's just like it undercuts the argument that you're trying to make right now, and it's just silly to me. I mean, it really is. And I mean, like, obviously, like, I could never grasp. I can't grasp why people are so confident that Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs team, especially offensively, are on the decline. That, like, his better years are past. Just because he hasn't been playing great these last couple of years, to me, it's just like, what really showed these last couple of years were, 1, that Patrick Mahomes is obviously human. 2, he's not this just mythological creature where he can just overcome anything, whether it be O-line, injured receivers. Again, when you get to the success that you have, those are team successes, right? Those other teams could not win. Their defenses were trash relative to that. Also, their quarterbacks were trash relative to Patrick Mahomes. Their coaching is trash relative to Andy Reid. So it's just like, it's not hard to quite, to grasp that. But, and this is the other problem. It's like, after the Chiefs then came up short and Patrick Mahomes didn't have a great year, at least statistically, you're like, well, here's all of this things that they were dealing with. And it's like, but then you tried to shut everyone down when they tried to bring this up during the regular season as to why maybe the Chiefs aren't this dominant, best team in the NFL. And that's like my issue about the conversations that we have surrounding a team like the Chiefs and Mahomes. Because if in like week 13, you're like, I don't know, the Chiefs, I'm not feeling too strong about what they're doing. And you're like, what are you talking about? They're the best team. How dare you doubt this team? This team's unbelievable. And, they're back-to-back champions and this, that. And it's just like, okay, then they lose. And you're like, well, look what they had. They had all these injuries at wide receiver. And they had these injuries at O-line. And they had the most this, that. And it's just like, yeah, You didn't let anyone talk about that during the regular season. And you tried to act like it was insane for anyone to even remotely doubt that or question that. And if another team had slightly better odds, literally like plus 10 better odds than the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, it was like, this is a disgrace. How dare you do this? We've lost our minds. And then they lose, and it's like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, what do you want them to do? Look at all these issues they had, and it's like, you can't have it both ways, man. You can't have it both ways. And that's what ends up being the most frustrating thing talking about the Chiefs, is because the conversation is just so they always try to strong arm you into the conversation that they want to have. And it's just like, quite frankly, it's pretty obnoxious at this point. But on the flip side, the people who are so confident that, like I said, the Chiefs' downfall is imminent and that Patrick Mahomes is going to be great. Like someone said this in the comment section when they were like, I don't know if he said it to me directly. Like we were having a positive conversation, and he's a Chiefs fan, and he was just like, I think he either said like, you're waiting for Mahomes's downfall, or a lot of people are. I think he might have said a lot of people are, and I was like, I'm not expecting their downfall at all. Like I think it's outrageous that people think that just like Mahomes is now relegated to just being like, yeah, he's just kind of like a top 10 quarterback or this or that. Like my whole argument is that he hasn't been this special otherworldly quarterback over these last couple of years, but not that he's now suddenly incapable of being that when the right team is around him. He just showed that he can't be that special even when that team, despite the team around him. Like it's just you are reliant still on the pieces around you. And so that whole narrative that someone like Patrick Mahomes is so amazing that it doesn't matter, like Nick kind of talked about when they lost, this bubble of invincibility has been popped. And like I think that's accurate. But what that doesn't mean is that Patrick Mahomes won't be special, great, elite, all pro, all time, amazing player when you give him time. But I take issue, when you give him a team around him. But what I also take issue is like, oh, he's been hit so much and this or that. It's like, guys, like all of these quarterbacks are dealing with this. Like this is what, again, continues to be so frustrating about this, because we're trying to now create an environment that like Patrick Mahomes was hit so much more than any of these other quarterbacks and this or that. And it's just like, it's all within range of any of these other quarterbacks. I mean, Joe Burrow, 248 dropbacks with pressure. Geno Smith, 251. Sam Darnold, 236. CJ Stroud, 235. Jaden Daniels, 212. Patrick Mahomes, 212. Like, that's what I give such pushback on. Because it's just kind of absurd. Lamar Jackson, 204. I mean, it's really absurd. You're like, oh, Patrick Mahomes had no time in the pocket. And the time to throw, I don't really actually agree with as a stat as much, because that doesn't, people think that's like an O-line metric, but it's not, because it can, it's like you could be holding onto the ball too long. Like there's other factors at play, so it's not my favorite metric. But like Joe Burrow, 2.65, Patrick Mahomes, 2.76, right? Like Jaden Daniels had some extra time because he was scrambling a lot, right? Caleb Williams was holding on to the ball a lot, so like and was also scrambling a ton. So it's just like, that's why the timing doesn't really match up 100% when comparing these. So it's not my favorite way to look at things when you talk about how much time does a quarterback have in the pocket. But yeah, I take issue with that, honestly. Like I even showed, Jalen Hurts had less pressures, but he actually had a higher pressure rate per drop back and per pass attempt than someone like Patrick Mahomes, because they think that he was not doing good with the pressure, and so they just kept trying to get after him. So like this is what I take issue with. And then same thing, again, everybody was panicking about the drops for Patrick Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers had 39 drops in 2024. 39 drops. Justin Herbert, 28. Joe Burrow, 27. Bo Nix, 25. And in 2023, this is the drops. Patrick Mahomes was 29. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had 10 more drops last season. Did anyone say, oh, he would have been great if it wasn't for all those pesky drops? No. Dak Prescott had 29. I don't remember anyone complaining in 23 about Dak Prescott struggling with these drops. And same thing with Matthew Stafford. Josh Allen. Like, this is what I'm trying to say. Josh Allen had 28 drops. Patrick Mahomes had 29. Josh Allen was pressured 232 times. Patrick Mahomes 241. So Josh Allen is being pressured a ton. And his receivers are dropping plenty of balls. And yet no one's using that as a defense. Like, this is the core of my issue. Sam Howell had 28 drops. Again, Patrick Mahomes 29. And he was pressured 277 times. Patrick Mahomes 241. I don't recall anyone saying that Sam Howell would be an awesome quarterback if he just had a better coach, better receivers, better O-line. I don't recall anyone saying that. Nobody said that. So, and again, the argument is not, well, look what Patrick Mahomes did in 2018, 2019. Like, I'm sick of that argument because that doesn't have anything to do with anything right now. We can say, yeah, Patrick Mahomes hasn't been as great, and these are some of these other factors at play, which makes sense. But to pretend that other quarterbacks aren't dealing with these things and that every other quarterback just has it perfect, that's the nonsense. That's the nonsense that I keep saying, like, this does not make sense. And so with those issues that Patrick Mahomes had throughout the season, which are real issues and explain why his numbers were down, he still did not play better than other quarterbacks who had similar issues with O-lines, with bad receivers, whatever it may be exactly. That is a fact. That is a fact. It's also true to say that Patrick Mahomes is still a better quarterback. Like, Geno Smith dealt with pressure and poor receivers, and even, Baker Mayfield, and, again, depending on which specific metric, than Patrick Mahomes. Doesn't mean that those quarterbacks are better than Patrick Mahomes. And it doesn't mean that if you put them both in perfect situations, that Patrick Mahomes doesn't absolutely dominate relative to a Geno Smith. Right? Like, that's again where people still get tripped up on the conversation, somehow see it as like hate or controversy. And it's not. And I'm not going to go through this all right now, but it's like I showed you that, like, against the blitz, when under pressure versus not under pressure, like Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, like other quarterbacks fundamentally did better than Patrick Mahomes under really, really similar circumstances. And it's okay to talk about that. It's okay to talk about that. But we don't have to invent and pretend like Patrick Mahomes has been dealing with such insane things that no other quarterbacks are dealing with, because it's just not true. And it's also true to say that if he's in a better situation, that Patrick Mahomes, of course, will be better. But then that humanizes him, and people are uncomfortable with that. But I mean, Geno Smith did not have amazing weapons and did not have a great O-line. Okay. Yet here we are. You can make the argument that Geno Smith was a little bit better. Had to do a little bit more for his team, and clearly had an inferior roster. And it's like, does that mean that Geno Smith is better than Patrick Mahomes? Absolutely, positively not. Not even close. Not even remotely close. But it is a testament and credit to, to Geno. And it's okay to say that. It's okay to say that. Jaden Daniels, as a rookie, when under pressure, dealt with it better than Patrick Mahomes. He just did. It's okay to say that. It's okay. So I just want to be able to have, like, accurate conversations surrounding all of this type of stuff. And I mean, long story short, man, like, I see no reason why the Chiefs won't be great this coming season, and why this offense won't be great this coming season. But it flies in the face, though, of the narrative of Patrick Mahomes is responsible for all the success, and that when he loses, it's not his fault, because it's just like, if you want to say, well, listen, this is why he struggled, this is why his numbers have been down, this is why, et cetera, well, then it's like, well, you have to then give the pieces around him. Not to mention, you talk about regular season. I mean, also, you have to just look at the postseason. I mean, again, if Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs had all these problems, I would like to understand though why this doesn't matter though for why no one felt that then it was so insane that that if anyone ever said this will maybe be a problem going into the Super Bowl or this may be a problem going into the conference championship, like why was that not the case? I mean, CJ Stroud played, obviously he only played 2 playoff games. Patrick Mahomes played 3. CJ Stroud was pressured 39 times. Patrick Mahomes 42. I mean, that's insane. That is insane. Okay? I mean, Josh Allen played 3 games. Patrick Mahomes played 4. And they had a difference of 7 pressures. 7. One, CJ Stroud was throwing to essentially no one. That whole roster was injured. And a fired offensive coordinator. No one's going to pretend like Josh Allen has these elite, amazing wide receivers. Jalen Hurts was pressured. Obviously, he played 1 more game than Patrick Mahomes, but still was pressured 4 more times and played in a blizzard. Jaden Daniels played 1 less game, right? Yeah, 3 games, so the same as Patrick Mahomes, and was pressured 47 times. Patrick Mahomes 42. And again, this was in the playoffs when Hollywood Brown was there, when DeAndre Hopkins was there, Travis Kelce was there. So it's just like, we don't have to keep inventing situations. We really don't. Josh Allen, his receivers had 3 drops. Played 1 less game than Patrick Mahomes. His receivers had 4. Matthew Stafford, 4 drops. Jared Goff, 3 drops. 3 drops. Lamar Jackson, 3 drops. And Lamar Jackson only played 2 playoff games. So it's just like everyone's dealing with this type of stuff. Everyone's dealing with this type of stuff. Don't know how else to put it, honestly. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Patrick Mahomes in this offense? How confident are you that the light show is back? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.